Hi, this is Scott Dunn, Agile Coach and Trainer with Rocket9 Solutions, and we've been doing a series before on questions from the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Agile Leadership courses. I thought I would take a break from that and dig into topics from the Advanced Certified Scrum Master class, partly to share not just what's inside of the Advanced Certified Scrum Master class, what areas do they cover, also just give some content from that might be helpful to you. So we'll take one of the topics from the Advanced Certified Scrum Master course that's in the area of Agile and Lean values, principles, and worldviews. And the topic is demonstrate how you resolved or addressed a violation of Agile principles. So for me, I'll share a couple stories, and then that's what we would ask of you is, can you demonstrate how you resolved or address violations of Agile principles? So if you're going to be an Advanced Certified Scrum Master, that makes sense. So I'll give a couple so you'll know what we're thinking of that. For example, let's talk about self-organization as one of the core principles with Agile and Scrum. And I was at a large healthcare organization. Funny how companies are like, here's these great, brand names we've worked for. And then when they actually have these conversations about specific issues like a company that whatever. What if one person just has one company they work for, they have just one logo, it's like the Air Force or whatever. And then they're talking to you like a large military division that flies planes. So I was at a large healthcare organization, and we're doing this large room release planning. So multiple teams slotting out the stories for the next release. And I had noticed that a manager was not just hanging out at a team, like listening, which I thought would be really great if they're doing that so they understand what we're working on. But when I got close just to kind of double check, he's actually telling them like, no, don't do that. I need you to do this. You need to work with it. Like just really just tasking people with assignments on what to do and telling them what to do. And I just said, so I said, one of the core tenets of Agile is self-organization. I kind of assumed he just didn't know, like start the conversation, and he gets kind of brusque and says, tell me something I don't know. And I remember commenting like, well, because what you're doing is you're solving their problems for them. You're not letting them figure this out themselves. So we went to the hallway and had a short conversation. So that's one way I resolved or addressed it. Not that it always works out. He might have come right back later on the next week and micromanage the teams again. But just address it. If nothing else, it puts it in front of them like, no. I think partly the Scrum Master is trying to be a gatekeeper. Like this is a new way of working here. And yes, that really means something here. And that takes some courage. It takes some openness. It takes being direct and being a good communicator. So that's one issue that came up. Another one was on teams self-organizing, teams self-managing. And I was at another company where we wanted the teams to do self-formulation, but just put them in a large room and let them just pick their own teams. Because think about the irony. I can ask the question like, how'd you guys get on these teams? How are teams decided? That we commonly go into these companies and, management assigned us to these self-organizing teams. Isn't that awesome? So we were lobbying to let the teams decide themselves. They're closer to the work. They know who they want to work with, etc. I think there's all sorts of goodness that comes. And we had a manager who just literally wouldn't let that happen. He was saying, I manage these people. I've worked with them for a long time. Now I know who needs to trust me. I know what I'm doing. Is very stern about that. In fact, another Scrum Master who I just loved to death, loved the pieces. He was trying to work with them, and as well as a manager trying to work with this other manager, and they just wouldn't listen, so they kind of called me in to help. And in the end, I simply said, and we had to find some way to compromise and say, what can we do and give it a shot. Just try it and see. And if not, I'll give you veto rights. You can undo all that. So he agreed to do it if we could let him veto it. And he actually had to list all the names and what teams they'd be assigned. So we go in, we do the exercise, goes, for a couple of hours. Wonderful job, by the way, on the part of this company with the manager, this other manager, who is very much Agile, trying to lay out, here's what self-organization is about, here's how teams self-select, and guides the team through this whole process. So they have some great shepherding going on. And then they go through and they pick all their teams and go through all stuff and they have a great time with it. Teams are having fun. Actually, there's a quote, I overheard one person saying, so this is what it means to self-organize, right? It just really communicates something. So they got on their teams and they did all this work, picked their team names, had a lot of fun. And in the end, we went back to double check with the manager. So what do you think? Let's talk about the gaps. There literally was no gap. I mean, the team did what he thought was optimal anyways. So you could say, well, see, Scott, the manager is right. Okay, maybe. But I will ask you this. In the end, who decided? The manager or the teams? And I think that to me people say like, I've heard this before from managers, like, what does this mean, empowering? What the heck does that mean? And empowering them to decide themselves what that, and let them take the falls. If they're going to fail, they'll fail safe. So I'd rather them make choices. And also, when it's their choice, they're more likely to kind of put themselves behind it to really make it a success. If you're the one that decides it, how much of it are you really getting from them to make it work? In fact, they might be motivated to show you it's not going to work because they don't like your idea, or they weren't supportive of the idea, or maybe they just don't like you, right? So anyways, I don't want that kind of a setup for you or your teams. So give it a shot, give them veto rights. In the end, yes, exactly the same. The team decided, and they're jazzed about that. It made a noticeable difference. Another issue that come up was a CEO telling me with a large project we're doing for a website, and just saying, very strong personality from the East Coast. I don't want to sound judgmental. Not that all people from the East Coast are strong personality. I think there's some very nice people on the East Coast. But he was just saying, are you going to have it by October? And that's kind of his voice. And you kept pushing this. I kept trying to say about Agile, flexible scope, and all this stuff. But he wanted an answer. You're going to have all this by October. All the scope that they'd land out. And I just said, look, you're going to have something by October. And I will promise you this, it'll be your top priority stuff if you give me the right product owner. It'll be in high quality, good condition, ready to ship, working software. I will give you progress and visibility every step along the way, right? That's what I promise you. So in that case, I simply drew the line like, this is what it is. I'm going to back off a little bit from that. Funny thing is, that same senior leader completely changed the scope twice throughout that project, right, as far as fixed scope. So I'm not a huge buyer of that. So those are just some examples of what it means to resolve or address the violation. Sometimes it's negotiation, sometimes it's drawing a line, sometimes it's one-on-one coaching. So consider those as some options. And I challenge you, if you're an advanced certified Scrum Master, think back. When have you seen these principles of Scrum broken, or Agile values broken? And what was your response? What did you do, and how did that turn out for you? So leave your comments down below. Would love to hear your stories, and feel free to, I guess if you like this, you continue to follow it or subscribe. You'll see the new updates. We're going to try to do this on a regular cadence for a continuing series on advanced certified Scrum Master topics, and hope that's of some help or value to you, and good luck to you and your teams on your journey.